Public Affairs Broadcasting.
Special programming from Rockingham County Radio, rcrlive.com.
Hello, this is Mabel Scott. I'm with Rockingham County Government as the Public Information Officer, and we'd like to welcome you to another edition of Community Accents. Today we have someone who many of you all have seen time and time again as a leader in part of our staff from a professional standpoint, but you've also seen him as a musician and as a keyboard player out in many of our community activities and events. Let me present to you Larry Johnson, who is the director of our newly consolidated Health and Human Services. That's the long title. Also, musician extraordinaire. Welcome to Community Accents.
Thank you, Mabel.
We're glad to have you back. Well, today we want to talk about your various roles that you have had with Rockingham County government, which includes a lot of different titles. Give us a summary.
Well, I came here back in 2000. It was March of 2000.
That's a long time ago.
I arrived here, and I had been a DSS director for 12 years at that point, and came in, and it was a wonderful, wonderful initiation into Rockingham County. I came here. I'd been down in the eastern part of the state, and it was pretty poor down there. Sometimes I said it was almost like working in a third world country. And I came to Rockingham County, and I was just tickled to death with the reception I got here. Moved to Reidsville, and immediately started meeting a lot of really nice people. Got involved with St. Thomas Episcopal Church, and it's just a great bunch of people here, and so that was the beginning.
Yes, Rockingham County is a good place.
And for about 6 or 7 years, I was primarily the DSS director.
Department of Social Services.
Department of Social Services.
And that includes social workers.
Economic services workers, clerical workers, child support, fraud, all sorts of things that go on over there. But that was my primary function. And along I guess it was about 2005 or 2006, Craig Cardwell with the Reidsville Area Foundation and I started working together real closely. I was on the board at that point. And we started a mental health focus group because there was just lots of issues going on about mental health. And at the same time, mental health reform was going on statewide. Mm-hmm. And then mental health reform began to sort of hit locally. Mm-hmm. So we were working a lot on mental health issues. And I guess because of my involvement with mental health, Tom Robinson, who was the county manager at that time, asked me to take on some additional roles rather than just being DSS director. One was to work with him with what to do about mental health, because mental health had been sort of subsumed into the Alamance-Caswell group. And it was really changing the way we were doing business here. And, of course, at the same time, in real time, we were doing that mental health focus group. So it really kind of worked nicely together. But I took on that. The other couple of departments that he wanted me to take on were the Youth Services Department, which Tara Pierce, at that time it was T. Price was running the program, and she went on to be a state leader in that program, and then Tara Pierce came in. But then we had the Veteran Services, and then also Head Start. So
you took on a lot of additional roles as far as
it was
leadership.
But at the same time, I think it was a really nice time in my career to be doing something like that, because it really, I got to use all the channels of my brain, and it really was it was quite a challenge. But mental health turned out to be the biggest challenge, one of the biggest challenges I've ever taken on. And then we began studying the mental health system here to look and see how we were doing, and because of the changes in regionalization, we were actually losing money because we had lost all of our administrative funds. And so after 2 years of examining it, we made the very heartbreaking decision to close the mental health center and privatize the mental health center. And that was a very tough decision to come to. The county commissioners at that time were just wonderful to work with. And we had a lot of meetings, a lot of hand-wringing, a lot of tears, but ultimately we really had to do it. We really didn't have a choice. And that was probably one of the biggest things that's happened up until we did this last consolidation. But it's
so
been
really,
sort of
I guess change is the only constant.
I don't think I've ever been able to feel like I got into an absolute groove where there was no change going on. It's all, and then social services and human services in general, are subject to so much legislative change
From the state, from the federal government.
and the majority of the money we get to run our human services programs comes from the federal government. And, of course, they write the laws, they write the rules, and they provide the money. And he who pays the piper calls the shots, as you know.
And there are lots of shots.
So every time Congress is in session, we're always subjected to new ways of doing business, and so it's never been a time when I could just sit back and say, okay, I got it all figured out.
You have to be nimble, you have to be
right.
quick, you have to be flexible and do what you have to do to get the monies to support our local citizens who need help.
And the other thing that started happening, and of course right after I got here, Pilotech's closed. We've just had the economy has just taken a real nosedive here, and during the time that I've been here, and so as a result, we've been in sort of a cutback budget mode ever since I got here. We haven't had very many years when there was a lot of increases, and we actually have less staff in most of our programs now than what we had way back then.
But they're loyal staff, and they love working here.
People, and I think that's one of the things that I'm excited about my career here is just the people, and it's going to be hard to walk away from all of this.
Yes. Well, then the next big transition after 2006, 2007, consolidating social services and public health. And this just doesn't happen with a snap of the finger. We went out and I remember all the research, how you all went across the state to look at counties that had already done what you were trying to do so you wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel. Give us a little bit of background about that.
Well, one of my good friends has the program up in Buncombe County, and so even way back in 2007 when I took on the human services thing, she and I started doing a lot of collaboration way back then. And so about 2010, the whole concept of consolidation started coming up, and there were a few counties that wanted to line up to actually get involved with this. And so Tom Robinson was here at that time. He and I actually went to a closed-door meeting with some of the key leaders around the state and talked about consolidation. And we had made the decision pretty much way back then that if the opportunity presented itself, that we were going to try it here. My whole idea about it was to look at the model that Buncombe County had and try to emulate that as closely as we can. Now, of course, having lived in Brevard, I know that Buncombe County is in a whole different financial economic situation than we're in. They've got all the tourism, plus they're booming. And so I knew we couldn't emulate it from a financial point of view, but at least we could look at the positive things they had done and try to catch some of those things.
Well, why did consolidation even catch your eye, and why did it even say on the inside, this is something we may want to look at? What are the benefits?
Well, again, I had a great role model out there in Buncombe County that I was talking to a lot, and she just kept saying, if you're going to do this thing, you might well just go ahead and do the whole thing and consolidate with health too.
Everything.
So there were three models that got presented, and one of the models had to do with doing away with the Social Services Board, the health board, and then there was one model where one of the options was to put the two boards together. And we had a wonderful DSS board at that time, had a wonderful public health board, happened to have one person that was on both boards. And so we decided if we were going to do this thing, what we were going to do was put those two boards together.
Merge them.
Merge the boards. And then once the boards came together, then we would start merging the two agencies. So we did that. The leadership, Nancy Crutchfield had been the chairman of the health board. Teresa Lowe had been my chairman of the DSS board. And it ended up Nancy became the chairman of the HHS board. This was April of 2013, April 2013. And then Teresa became the vice chairman. And then we put those two boards together.
Put all those great minds together.
Got them together. The School of Government came up from Chapel Hill and had a planning session with us, gave us some ideas, certainly gave us the legal ramifications of what it was we were trying to do. And the county attorney worked with us. Everybody worked with us. And, of course, Lance was here at that point. Lance Metzler was here by then. And Lance had come here wanting to do it because I think they had started the process in Montgomery County where he came from. So he was already, in fact, he was in that little meeting that Tom Robinson and I had gone to with Tom Tillis, who's now at the federal level in Congress. But anyhow, Lance was very much behind wanting to do this. And when we had two commissioners come on board with us with that board, so, it really was a concentrated effort to try to improve the services for the citizens, and tried to look at where were the barriers, if we had barriers that we could hopefully overcome. And we really realized too that a lot of what we needed was IT type things. We worked very closely with the IT department and started the process of having people working directly with us. And, of course, public health has made some incredible strides with it. We bought a system for electronic health records. They are almost, I think they're about 98% there with electronic health records. And
technology is our name. It's the name of our game. Unfortunately, over on the DSS side, we had a statewide effort that came about called NC Fast, which created lots of just almost insurmountable issues that we were trying to deal with. We had to sort of reorganize the DSS staff. The equipment, of course, the good thing is because of the federal money and the state money, the local money that has gone into these efforts that we've been doing has been very minimal. And the other neat thing is we were in a performance management project that we had been working on, and we had earned some money from DSS had earned some money, and public health had earned some money. So we had a little pot of money we could use for special projects and things like that, and we did employ that. That's good. Good.
And that was good.
And now look at it today. Ta-da! It's Consolidated Health and Human Services. We've done it.
It really is going well. I wanted one of the things that I did want to talk about was the space issue. We are certainly out of space over at DSS, and we decided to take some of our performance money that we had and get an architect to work with us about if we could design something that would be the ideal, what would it look like? And we spent several months working on this and came up with a plan. And the problem was it just happened to be probably the worst financial year that we've had, with the budget and everything else. And we've just gone through this budget process. And I think if I'd have gone up and asked these folks to build that building addition, they probably would have thrown me out of the room. But it is something for the future that we probably ought to look at because we are running out of space. Plus, we're using some older buildings here, and we just really need. We really wanted to have that consolidated intake that Buncombe County has. They have a beautiful lobby that you come into, and it's sort of seamless. You come in if you're coming for public health, if you're coming for DSS or any other programs.
So that's future.
That's future. That's the dream. That was the dream that I had hoped was going to happen while I was here, but it didn't get to happen.
But we're working toward that. But as far as the transition team and the two agencies coming together, the strategic plan, you talked about the central intake, working on staff efficiencies. We've done that, cross-training, dealing with NC FAST issues, the financial software training, electronic health records. We're going forward.
We're moving forward.
That's a lot.
We also consolidated our billing, our accounting group. We moved the folks from DSS over to the public health because we created some space over here. I moved over into the public.
And so
health
a brand new world.
and then, lo and behold, I end up being interim health director when Glenn Martin retired. Who would have ever dreamed that I would do that? But I don't think I did any great damage. It doesn't seem like I did.
You never know what's going to happen. So generally speaking, when you look at social services and public health, we have now started getting greater efficiencies, better outcomes and results by being merged. And especially more collaboration.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Collaboration is
that's important.
And
that's essential.
I can proudly say that the collaboration certainly paid off with the budgets. We had not had to ask the county for any additional money, and this was the third budget in a row that we have not had to do that.
Congratulations.
And of course, it's been hard, and we've had to bite the bullet a few times, but
we all have.
But at the same time, I think we wanted to do what was best for the county.
Yes.
And I think
that's the bottom line, our citizens and meeting the needs. And because of the challenges with the economy, that means that more and more people are coming to get support from Department of Social Services and
I didn't even get
public
into
health.
that, but we are seeing more people than we've ever had. Honestly, about 20% of this county right now is receiving public assistance.
And you're seeing people who probably never thought they'd have to come here.
Absolutely not.
But this is part of why we are here. And if you need help, always know we are here for you, Rockingham County government. You know where we are, right off 65. The other reason why we're having this conversation about consolidation and all the good things that have happened in health and human services over the last few years is because Larry Johnson can now count the days and count the hours. How many days?
2 days
Just
left.
a few days left. And he's going into retirement. And so what's going to happen with Larry Johnson after retirement? All of these skills and experiences and knowledge and relationships and ties and collaborations you have across the state and the nation. What are you going to do with all of that?
Funny you should mention ties.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm going to do with all those ties.
Oh, my goodness.
No, I don't know. I have a lot of ideas of what I'd like to do. None of them, I haven't really put the rubber to the road on any of them really yet. But
because now it's time to retire and just chill.
Well, I do. I plan to chill. I hope to go to the beach for a couple weeks and
get a suntan.
Kick back. I just got off the phone with my daughter, and she's bringing my grandkids down, and my other daughter's going to be down at Myrtle Beach, so I'm going to run down and see them one of the days I'm down there. And
so you're going to play granddaddy now.
I'll be granddaddy. I lived in Wilmington for about 10 years in the 70s and played music, as we talked about. I played with some excellent musicians down there. Got to perform with a lot of the old R&B guys and gals when they came through town.
Rhythm and blues, oh yes.
And so a lot of those folks are still around. We've stayed, but Facebook's a kind of an amazing thing. You can stay in contact with people and find out what's going on. And I made a conscious decision to get reconnected with some of those folks, and I've already had a little jam session with some friends down there a few weeks ago, and so I know that I'm not leaving that behind. And
we might be seeing a CD. Larry Johnson.
Who knows?
I know it.
But I love my music, and I don't know. I hope that the people of Rockingham County have seen that as a good thing, that I had an avocation while I was doing my job here, and I can truthfully say, if anything, it made me able to do my job better, because I had something that I could totally get away from here, in the evenings or the weekends, and just think about something totally different than public welfare and public health and mental health and all that sort of thing.
And that's a good thing. And we certainly want to thank you for all your help when we've done the Gospel Fest.
It's been so much fun.
You are quite an organist. You can sing, and you have that spirit on the inside, and you just let it go.
Well, and another thing, when I came here, 16 years ago, I had hoped that I would get to continue my musical career, but I didn't know that I would. And who knew that I've actually gotten to do some things since I've been here that I would have never dreamed.
And some of the people you've connected with, our maintenance director.
He is fantastic.
Oh, my goodness.
And he and I played down at the Carolina Theater. The guy from Rolling Stone magazine was there, wrote a wonderful review of us. We opened for Three Dog Night.
Listen to that. Three Dog Night.
He compared us to, somebody that should have been up there with Three Dog Night.
There's so much talent within these walls. We do our work, but afterward, on weekends, at local churches and venues, and we're everywhere, out in the neighborhoods.
Our former IT director, Ronnie Wynn, and I got to play with the Platters and the Marvelettes. We went out.
Oh, I remember them as a little kid growing up.
They were so much fun. It was just, I've gotten to do some really fun stuff since I've been here, and had a music store for a short time, and so who knows? I may try it again.
I know it. I told Ron Ferris, I said, "Oh my goodness, all that music, just oh boy."
Well, he and Phil Sparks are probably two.
Very
I've played with
talented.
some really good players over the years, but I can't think of anybody other than somebody that everybody would know their names.
The late great B.B. King.
They're incredible. And then I worked with Ginger Waynick, who had your job before, and then
she was public information
Veronica
officer.
Jones, and we've just had. I've had so much
talent, just talent. Rockingham County government it's a magnet to pull people who are well-rounded and like to do a lot of fun things.
This is a great place to live, too, by the way, and I really do. I lived in Brevard, which was a great retirement community, but honestly, Rockingham County's got a lot going for it, and I think you all are doing a really good job of promoting the good things that go on here.
Thank you. And to our folks over in tourism and economic development. And all the great water outings that you can participate,
and
canoeing.
It's
remember all those experiences we had, team building with the canoes on the water, on the Dan River.
But no, it really is a wonderful place, and I don't know if I'll stay here. I really don't know, but I know that I've had a great experience here.
And you have contributed so much, and you have touched all of our lives and made us even better.
Well, I've met some great people here.
We appreciate that. So, as far as parting words, now you can get really deep and heavy right now. And what do you want to tell the folks of Rockingham County as far as our future and what we can all do to help make this an even better place to live and work and play?
Well, I will say that one of the things that I had hoped was going to happen was expansion of Medicaid in North Carolina, and I'm not trying to get political or anything, but I'm just saying, if you came over to DSS and listened to the stories of the people that come in there, and so many people are this close to being eligible to get that kind of assistance, and they can't get it because of the way that our system is in North Carolina. I wish that had happened on my watch, because there was just so many things at public health and just all mental, especially mental health. I think that Felissa Farrell is going to be the DSS director, and she is the DSS director,
and she'll be Health and Human Services.
And she's going to be Health and Human
Services,
all starting July 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with her background, she and I have a very similar background, and I think that she's going to take up the battle, the fight, and
take up the mantle and run the race.
But I think that Rockingham County, we need to be more understanding of other people that are different from us, and I think the spirit is there. I think that we're negatively influenced by a lot of stuff we see on TV, and it's just no fun to watch the news anymore. But I just think there's so much goodness here, and if that goodness can rise to the top.
Like our eagles over at the landfill.
That's right.
Fly like an eagle.
I think that there's some really, really good progress that's been made in this community, and I think that people are working together probably that never thought they would work together the way they do now.
I know it.
And
it's that collaboration when we see a need to come together and do all we can to help each other. And that's why we need more volunteers and people to help us with our senior citizens and with foster care and adoptions, and not just wait until Thanksgiving and Christmas to step forward and write a check or bring some teddy bears or a doll. We need you year long to come over and help and do whatever you can.
And being on the different boards
and committees,
and, good people, and just trying to do the right thing and be fair. I think fairness is what I've tried so hard to be, and I think I have been. You
have been just, you've been fair, and you've been a real motivator and instigator, and we thank you for walking tall, not just being tall, but for walking tall and standing up for what you believe. Because at the end of the day, we all have to go to sleep at night. And if you can't sleep because you didn't do what you were supposed to do during the day, something is wrong. So we hope and pray Godspeeds to you and your family, your grandchildren. Keep doing Larry Johnson, being the great, I call you the cousin of Santa Claus. And just being a kind, gentle soul who loves people.
Well, I look forward to just having some time to just read. I love to read. It seems like I've been so busy, I just don't have time to read anymore.
Well, you're going to be able to read, relax, and just have a good time. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next month.